Alright, what's up guys? I'm Jake Paciotta, and this video is for Afro's 140 or communication class with Ms. Paula Johnson. Shout out. So, first question today is going to be, do you think that people that aren't politicians should be able to run for presidential office? Let's get into it.
No, I don't think people who aren't politicians should be able to run for presidency, because I feel like politicians know the laws and how to run the government better than most of us do.
Yes, I think people who aren't politicians should be able to run for the government because it's a free country, and regardless of their roots and how they were brought up, if they want to make a change in this country, it should be allowed.
I think that it is okay for anyone who is not a politician to run for a position, because if they're qualified and they know what they're doing and they have good values, then I think it's good.
Yes, I think people that aren't politicians should be able to run for office, because an example would be our current president, who wasn't a politician prior, but now he technically is because he is our president, but beforehand he wasn't, and I feel like a lot of other political figures, such as Donald Trump, have been in that position, so I feel like it's okay.
Yes, people who aren't politicians should be able to run for president as long as they have the proper credentials, because in that case then they have the qualifications that let them be a powerful leader. And some people really don't have those qualifications, but if they prove to have them and they aren't a politician, then it shouldn't matter.
I don't think that just anyone should be able to run for the presidency or office, because you need to have experience in everything that you're doing. In a regular job, they're not going to hire someone who doesn't have experience or training in that area. So I think that should also apply for office.
I do think that anybody should be able to run for office. I don't think it should be exclusive to politicians, because obviously some are corrupt and some have their own problems. And being quite honest, a good president doesn't necessarily need to be the best politician. They can just be really charismatic and have really good qualities that make them likable by Americans.
I think people who aren't politicians should be able to run for presidency because they have ideas that many others don't, and they have a different perspective.
As far as the presidency goes, though, I believe anyone should be able to run for president. Personally, I don't think that we should vote for people who have never been a politician or directly involved in politics, but that is up to Americans to decide. If we only allow politicians to run for president, then I feel like we will be denying certain freedoms in America that we should not be denying to the people. People should be able to vote for whoever they want for president.
I do not think that people who aren't politicians should run for president, as we see with present events right now. Thank you.
Oh, hey. So our second question today is, do you think there's a gun problem in America? If you don't think so, why? If you think there is a gun problem, how should we assess it?
I definitely think that there's a gun problem, and I believe the way to address it is more restrictions and tests, more background checks, more training, so people who do purchase these weapons have the knowledge and skills to be able to properly handle and use them, along with mental stability checks and just overall restrictions on certain weapons, because there's no need for them in the civilian lifestyle. But yeah, it's definitely a problem, and more restrictions and more tests and checks and procedures will definitely help with the problem.
Okay, I think there is a gun problem in America because we have a mass shooting every couple weeks, so I think that is a major problem, that anyone can just get a gun. I think a way to solve this is pushing legislation that makes it harder for people to get guns, also minors to not get guns, and also people with mental illness or who is on a no-fly list should not be able to get guns.
I do believe that there is a gun problem, and I think that in order to fix this gun problem, we need to make it illegal for all civilians to own guns. And I believe this because in recent years there's been a lot of mass shootings, and in order to prevent this, we need to stop having civilians own guns in society.
I definitely think there's an issue with gun control in America,
I think there's like too many things going on with like the misuse of guns. I don't think we should abolish them completely because I definitely think they like do good for like law enforcement and different things. But I just think there should be stricter gun laws of like who can purchase guns and definitely just like crack down on like who can own them and use them.
Yes, I think there is a gun problem in America, and I think we should ban assault rifles and automatic guns because no one needs those, and they make it so school shootings, much more people die. And if people could just have handguns, then they couldn't kill as many people in a school shooting or any shooting, and they're just unnecessary.
I think that in terms of gun laws and having guns in America, I think as of now there definitely is a problem with guns, as seen through all of the shootings that have been happening all throughout America these past years and hearing everything on the news. And I think that eliminating guns and not having the ability to own a gun is not necessarily the answer, but I think that there definitely needs to be stricter laws on having guns or the type of guns that people can have.
Yeah, I think there's a gun problem. I think there's a problem with the culture generally, and that's not really something we can directly fix or have a solution to. But I think it just comes down to how we're going to perpetuate the crimes that are happening, the mass shootings that are causing the problem in the country, how we're going to treat them as a society, how we're going to treat criminals who wield guns, how we're going to treat like fairness of owning multiple guns. I don't think we need to have a law that allows you to buy guns in bulk so easily. I think that things are just a little bit too loose in this country. I think that we need to be a little bit stricter, be a little bit more, a little bit less lenient in the way that we treat gun culture in general, because it's getting out of hand and it's not something that is getting fixed anytime soon.
I believe we have a gun problem in America, and to address such a problem, we need to make guns less accessible to people who have had violent histories. That's not to say we should get rid of the Second Amendment altogether, but I believe that we should have more of a universal policy on guns. It shouldn't be a state-by-state policy. I think that we need to have a federal law around it, not just different state laws. And so I don't think that violent criminals should have access to guns. I don't think that people who have been convicted of sexual harassment or any type of hate crime should have access to guns. I believe that it needs to be more strict so that only people who are safe have access to guns for hunting or any other personal protection usage.
Boy, you know you don't look